so we could do a short run to the catch basin and the curb.
The column.
Yeah.
So the fourth column is the difference. So in other words, if we have a fixed $750,000 budget for alleys, it would be if we did, let's see, what were you saying? What's more expensive?
Actually, the next chart, Allison is going to actually show it a little bit better. Essentially, what you're seeing in that fourth column is how much more it costs to construct a green alley, a conventional alley. So, alley 4A, an extra $55,000 to make that a green alley. All right. What we did in the far column on the right is we also then broke out what it would cost to put in that actual infrastructure that is needed to receive the under drain water and put it into the storm sewer. All right. I think the next chart is really going to be the one that helps you understand. So these are our engineering opinion of costs. The conventional alley costs are shown right there. We took Shorewood's 2017 results from the alley program and added 2 years worth of factors that we do for cost projections. And so that would be the total cost of each of those alleys, a total of around a little under $600,000. Right? That would be for all the alleys, all 10 segments. The green alley would be the green alley cost, and that would include the pavers, the concrete, the under drain. And if it needs the infrastructure added, it would have to be added, and then you'd have to go in and fix the roads. So what we looked at is how could we get to some green alleys for $750,000, and that's where we suggested alley 2A and actually alley 4A as the two best candidates for that.
And what's the difference, so the delta between the two, so recommending, what's the difference between conventional alleys for those two, the cost, and the two that are recommended? You just add the...
Yes, all I did is I took, instead of, for alley 2A, instead of the 55.3, we used 123.
So like 75,000? Yeah. Okay, and then the other one is 70. So you're about at 150 different, 150,000. I'm just trying to figure out how, if it would slow down the alley repair schedule because we're spending more and having less done. Less alleys completed.
We're spending
more. Oh yeah, yeah. If you wanted all green alleys, you could only get 4 of them done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'd have to delay fixing those other ones.
I mean, I think that's the decision. It's going to cost more.
Right.
Is that something we want to spend money on, or not?
Well, no. The question is, so 150. That really wouldn't delay for the next year an alley. It looks like you're still able to do all the alleys for a $750,000 reduction. It did not push off one alley.
No.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was asking.
What we're really suggesting to you is if you wanted to pursue green alleys here in Shorewood and get some cleanup of the stormwater, you could do 2 alleys. And these are the 2 best candidates because it is priority-wise, they're the easiest ones to do. And this, all we did is bar charted what the costs would be. We also added in, because you could benefit from the $40,000 for the surge district. So we moved the number from 750 to 790.
Is there any additional money than that? I just remember when we met, Leanne, you might know, but MMSD Kevin was saying, oh, we can help fund most of it.
I haven't pursued looking at grants, but there's all sorts of grant programs out there. But
as of the last time that I asked, the response that I got was that there was no additional green solutions money available to Shorewood.
Okay, thanks.
What is Milwaukee Wawato? How big are they getting into this? Are they doing a
Tosa, how many are they doing, John?
They're doing 6 this year. This is their 3rd year of doing them.
Okay.
So they're getting close to 20 right now.
6 out of
like they're doing
100,000? They do a lot, right?
Yeah.
And Milwaukee's is more or less a pilot program, but they're also, from the sewage district, getting a lot more money.
Right.
So, you know, it's helping pay for the green alley. So that's essentially what we're here to present to you, is that we can go all conventional, or we can look at doing, we think, those 2 candidate alleys as a way to get to a green alley program.
Trustee Mente.
I mean, I'm interested in knowing, in terms of TMDL reduction,
Yeah.
what these two alley projects would get us compared to, say, one of the bioswales, you know, give me in comparison to something I can compare it to, like one
Okay.
of the bioswales on Wilson Drive.
Yeah, I could do a little bit of that, but you know, it wouldn't be an apples to apples comparison because we're dealing with a very fixed, finite construction of an alley. So I could give you a comparison of what a bioswale does versus porous pavement, but you know, I don't know where you put a bioswale in an alley.
But
It's just,
that was my question too, she just
Sure,
phrased it differently.
sure.
We look at it as a systematic, so if there is a way that costs less to get more reduction in TML,
sure,
then
sure.
maybe we don't move forward with a green alley
Sure.
and we do something different. That would
Sure.
be, you know, that,
Yeah.
but that's how we have
But
to
Leanne, are
consider.
there other roadway projects where maybe green infrastructure could be added? Because if I were to give you something, I'd like it to fit in with maybe your road construction projects. I mean, we'd have to look at other projects that might be coming up where a green infrastructure like a bioswale might make sense and probably give you more TMDL, more total suspended solid reduction. Absolutely.
That is something that we look at in the design engineering phase of every road infrastructure program. But you may recall during our initial planning or initial design planning and engineering on Wilson, you know, we talked a lot, I think, about Wilson kind of being that one-shot project, that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The type of green infrastructure that we have on Wilson, the bioswales, the medium bioswales, the behind the curb bioswales, we simply do not have the opportunity to put those anywhere else in the village. So I very much understand, you know, that you're looking, you know, what for each dollar that we spent on that type of green infrastructure, what benefit are we getting? But I just would caution you that information, you know, is interesting, but I'm not sure it's applicable to alleys or frankly even anywhere else. We simply don't have the geographical space to put bioswales basically anywhere else in the village.
So are we doing are we doing a plan though?
Yes.
Okay, and isn't that coming up with ways to reduce our, I mean, if there's no other options, there's no, let me repeat it, no opportunity to do any other green infrastructure options in the village. What
You're quoting that from where?
that's what I think that's what you said. For bioswales?
For bioswales. There
And
are,
medians, right? Okay.
Yeah, we could
Just for bicycles.
convert roads to forest paved roads. You know, we could look at all sorts of things that are stormwater friendly treatments.
People could convert their front lawns.
There's, you know, but you know, but I could certainly give you an idea of how much treatment you get from a bioswale, and it's really district information that I would.
We already
take
have
and
that,
present to you.
right? I think it's just more of
Yeah.
from greenhouses.
Yeah. You know.
I mean, ideally, it would be great if we had our TMDL overall plan,
Yeah.
we could say,
Yeah.
does this,
Yeah, I
how does
think
this
this-
fit in?
Yeah, I think this is going to happen though sooner than the TMDL's study work that is underway with the MS board.
These are, but we have alleys for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna be doing alleys for
Yeah.
a long time, so it's
Yeah.
not like we slowed down, I mean, if it's only 2, we could speed it up with 4 next thing, you know what I'm saying, like, this year, you're correct. When would that TMDL plan be done? When is it scheduled?
as of now, I believe we're scheduled to sometime midsummer, probably fall, approximately a year from now.
Anyone else have questions?
So
Trustee Moore.
is the bottom line really for this, both of these are generally within our budget. But the question is spending about $170,000 more and slowing down the time frame worth the benefit that the green alleys provide? Is that-
Very succinctly put. Yeah.
Thank you. I've been drinking a lot of coffee.
That was,
And it gets you into the green alley business. And you get $40,000. Boom.
So is the extra, the 150, is that net of the 40, or does the 40 come? So we'd be spending an extra 150.
And then the 40 comes off of that, so actually you,
Really 100.
yeah.
Mark.
I noticed on your slides that you're quoting construction costs.
Yeah.
Does that my understanding that's fully designed and inspected construction costs, correct?
Actually, it includes our design and construction fee, our construction services fee as part of that.
So it's all included?
Yeah.
Okay, Trustee McKay?
The bar graph, I don't know which, the project cost opinion
Yeah.
slide. It looked like okay. So the green line on top of each
Yeah.
bar refers to the engineering inspection costs, but it is part of the total on each bar.
Yes. Let me see it though.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, it looked to me like it was separate, so thank you.
Can you, maybe Leanne, when I asked this, when we talk about this is just construction costs. So concrete has a much longer lifespan and you have to, but we've always been told because alleys, we repair them, internally.
Yeah.
And maybe Leanne, you can speak to this, that it's much easier for us to do asphalt repair rather than, otherwise we have to contract out. Is there a difference in maintenance costs?
Yes, there's a difference in maintenance costs in the two materials. Typically we talk about with the equipment and the crews that we have, we are much more able to respond to the repair of an asphalt roadway or alley. Whereas if concrete begins to fail, it basically becomes a replacement issue rather than a maintenance or repair issue.
So you've always recommended, we went through this discussion in Wilson, like we want everything asphalt for that reason. Is there do you have an opinion on this for your department?
Not specifically related to the materials. If I understand that, that there's many pros to the installation of green alleys, green infrastructure. We had that conversation with the sewerage district. They made it very clear that this is their preference. So I think that becomes a trade-off in that sense. And as we go forward, it is just a discussion and understanding that if the concrete portion of the green alley begins to fail, we would be limited in our ability to make a repair to that. If an asphalt alley or roadway begins to fail, we do have options in-house to address it sooner rather than later or make those repairs. So that is really just a consideration.
But the cost kind of equal out over time?
I've seen multiple life cycle analyses for asphalt versus concrete roadways. I've never seen one for alleys. And I will tell you, it kind of depends who's doing it. I've seen the concrete pavers do a life cycle analysis on roadways. That makes concrete look fabulous. Typically, when we have an engineering consultant do a life cycle analysis, the asphalt comes up as the less expensive option over time.
Thank you.
It's not a high traffic, it doesn't really require the same type of durability that you would need for a roadway, and so an asphalt is actually quite important. But to get porous pavers to work, you need actually that stable edge, so you have to do it in concrete. We haven't seen the successful use of asphalt leading up to the porous paver, so it really becomes a choice.
Thank you. Interesting.
I'd like to make a motion to direct the Department of Public Works to adopt the 2019 alley program as presented by Sigma, including green alleys, including 2 green alleys.
Second.
Any discussion? Trustee McKay.
Again, my favorite slide, the bar graph slide. It looks like there's
it says project budget is at 750, and then there's a line above that that says $790,000, and that accounts for the grant.
Right.
So you had just indicated that the 750 was the project budget, and then you subtract 40 grand from that. No?
Now, the $758 is for both construction, design, and engineering services during construction.
And then the grant would be a
Yeah.
credit against that
Yeah, the grant would then, you could use that grant money to help pay for
for the
Oh.
758.
Yeah.
Okay,
it.
thank you.
I just want to state that I'm going to vote no and just say why. Because there's no rush to adopt a new program for alleys this year. I do want to see what other TMDL options we have available based on the completion of our planning project or plan. And if we have limited dollars, and so if utilizing, because 100,000 or 105,000 every year, every time we do alleys, that adds up after 40 years to a lot of money. And if it could be better spent, and maybe there's not another option, but if it could be better spent over time doing a different technique, then I would prefer to do that. So I think waiting a year, we've got 40 years of alley replacements, but waiting a year isn't too much to get the data before we move forward. So that would be my rationale.